Burk, Hurkly, The Shrinking Dick, Episode 2, Globe Maker. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, freaks, geeks, and influencers. My name is Carl Wurtzum, and have we got a show for you tonight? Have we got a show for you tonight? Have we? Sorry. Does anyone know if we have a show for them tonight?
Yes.
Yes, we have got a show for you tonight. Episode 2 of Burk, Hurkly, P.I., The Shrinking Dick. In tonight's episode, we meet one of the greatest evil villains in all the land, the Globe Maker. So pull up a chair, light it on fire, and gaze into the embers as you enjoy tonight's episode of Burk, Hurkly, P.I., The Shrinking Dick.
It all started last Wednesday afternoon. I was running low on cash, so I did what anyone would do. I treated myself to a fancy 5-course meal. I couldn't pay for it, of course, but I happened to have credit at the particular restaurant.
You have no credit. You will pay bill now. I call police.
Thinking fast, I offered a promotional deal in exchange for my meal. And by promotional deal, I mean standing out front holding a sign. She agreed. It was a cool 112 in the shade, which prompted some local teenagers to display a high sign of respect in the form of offering their drinks to me as projectiles out of a moving car. My agreement was for $12 an hour, which required me to stand there for 8 hours to pay off my debt. It was a time to clear my head, a time of absolute peace and serenity. And in this time, I'd reflect and come to a conclusion. Being a detective was too hard. I'd quit and go back to barber school. Maybe I'd run into that girl whose acquaintance I'd made, and we'd get married and start a llama farm in the suburbs of Machu Picchu. It was just then that I saw him, the type of man that made me sick, the kind of guy that made me decide to get into the business to begin with, the slimiest of criminals who deserve nothing better than to have the book thrown at them, and to be put in jail, too, a male fraudster. Excuse me, Buster, but I just saw what you did, and I'm going to have to perform a citizen's arrest.
Oh, this guy is rich. Margaret, get out here. The guy in the chicken suit is arresting me.
What? What a clown. Does he want a tip? Give him a tip.
Here you go, bud. Keep up the good work. There's no shame in being a clown.
Happy that my quick thinking had prevented another crime. I resumed my spot on the street corner when someone approached me with a full-length mirror held out in front of them. I noticed a pimple on my nose and went to pop it when the chicken in the mirror didn't. I thought this odd, but even more odd when my reflection tried to shake me down for protection money.
If'n you ain't part of the union, you can't work this block, you see? Either you join or you get the heck out of town. I'm a chicken! Also, where'd you get your suit? I like the feather texture.
The guy was half my size, and I figured it'd be a while before his goons could get to me. I'd be halfway to Rancho Cucamonga by then, so I told the creep to beat it. Not today, but thank you for your offer. Have a nice day. Intimidated, he scurried away back under the rock he crawled out of. That rock being a black-lifted 2023 Land Cruiser Deluxe Edition with rims that sparkled with the gleam of 1,000 bedazzled jean pockets. Speaking of really nice cars, it was just then that my time-traveling shrinking machine rust bucket ripped into the parking lot, losing a bumper and a mirror on entry. Marcel, the genetically enhanced dog, didn't have to roll down the windows cause it never rolls up.
Man, what you doing dressed like a chicken? Don't you have any self-respect? You got like 30 calls while you been out. Plus this really hot chick showed up saying she'd like to talk to you personally.
What does she want to talk about? Were there undertones?
Man, I can't take you seriously dressed like that. Get changed and let's go.
I changed out of the chicken suit and explained myself to the very understanding staff at the restaurant.
You gonna finish paying your bill. Get back here, butthead.
Back at headquarters, I lit up a cigarette and left it burning in an ashtray for dramatic effect. That's when she walked in.
Oh, Mr. Hurkly, you're so much more handsome than your pictures in the classifieds.
Thank you, miss.
Schwartzfelder. Shelley Schwartzfelder.
Any relation to the famous detective Don Schwartzfelder?
Yeah, he's my husband, or he was before I had him murdered.
Go on, you murdered your husband. What else?
Can we just do that over? I feel like I should have concealed that information for at least a while.
Too late. I got the whole thing on tape. Listen. Blast. I really ought to find a better place for this thing. Anyway, I still heard you. You're going away for a long time, Miss Schwartzfelder.
I'll give you $20 if you lit it.
Your secret's safe with me, Miss Schwartzfelder. Now what can I do for you?
For one, you can stop staring at my breasts. For two, you can lower your beauty expectations so gals like me don't have to wear high heels and corsets all the time.
Deal.
That's better. Now let's get down to brass tacks. How much would you charge for me to frame you for the murder of my husband? Oh, bananas, I've done it again. Pretend you didn't hear that.
I honestly didn't. I was staring at your bare feet. Go on.
I'd like to lead you on a wild goose chase all over town where you'll get double-crossed by eccentric allies with humorous voices and colorful dialogue. But I only had money to hire this one guy named Stinky Pete. He lives at 555 Poop Street. Tell him you're looking for a new bicycle.
I ankled it over to Stinky Pete's garbage can and immediately forgot my line the dame fed me. So I did what I'm extremely gifted at. I improvised.
Whoa! Hey, didn't see you there. What are you doing? What is this, charades? Okay, sailor, you're a sailor. Bird, bird boat. Look, you got something to say, just say it. I don't got time for all this. Some lady gave me $20 to double-cross a guy named Burk Hurkly. So if that ain't you, now you're pointing to yourself. You are Burk Hurkly? Oh, okay, in that case, let's be friends.
I followed Stinky Pete into the dark storm drain. He said this is where he keeps all his gold. He's got so much of it, he needed me to help him find a new place to keep it. I knew he was lying, but just in case he wasn't, I followed him. We were about 2 miles deep when...
Get him, boys!
I had fallen right into her trap. Apparently, ignoring my intuition with a spiteful vengeance was a bad strategy. I had a feeling it might be. I could feel ropes around my hands, ropes around my feet, blood dripping out of some new openings in my body, duct tape over my mouth, and boobs against my face? Oh wait, no, that was another knife, against my throat. I was carried for a long time, set down, untied, and then the lights came on.
Look, there he is. He must have done it. That's our guy.
I found myself standing in a room full of 1940s-style reporters with a knife duct taped to my hand, standing over a dead body of Don Schwartzfelder, P.I., or R.I.P. P.I. He was dead. My instinct told me to run, but my curiosity told me to wait and hear the clever headlines of the reporters as they each ran to the telephone booths.
David kills Goliath. 2-bit detective on the take. 10-bit detective inanimate. Hero detective murdered by loser. Unidentified person stands over unidentified body, too soon to draw a reasonable conclusion.
Then I booked it.
Get in! Get in! So apparently that woman was covering up for something even bigger what's going down. Hold on to your butt. After she left, I followed her outside and heard her talking on the phone.
Yes, it's done. So if I got it done for $40 and then I said it would cost $1,000, I get to keep the remaining $960, right? Hopscotch, I love being a producer. Yes, you won't need to worry about the shrinking dick ever poking around the nearly abandoned mall in the storefront across from the bookstore turned pizza arcade turned Spirit Halloween store turned bookstore again, but really depressing this time turned Spirit Halloween store.
I'm no detective, but that sounded like a lead.
To the mall!
To the mall!
On the way to the mall, we had to drive through a massive overgrown entanglement of weeds, which Marcel informed me was the mall parking lot. We parked and hired a machetero to guide us to the entrance.
It's right this way.
When we got to the entrance, he pried the once mechanical door open with a large crowbar.
It's $50.
We didn't have the cash, so thinking fast, I threw a half-eaten bag of flamin' hot Takis into the foliage, and the machetero went after it like a starved hunting dog in pheasant season. Once inside, we were immediately greeted by what can best be described as a wrinkly leather couch with a face.
Yeah, hello. This is the mall.
Oh, Jesus!
I'm waiting for my mom. I love the mall.
I asked the sentient pile of skin where the Spirit Halloween was located. I realized our mission would be a little harder knowing that 3 of the major stores in the mall were now Spirit Halloween. Across from the first one was a store that can best be described as an autistic man-child's wet nightmare. I say wet because it was literally wet, practically flooded, and nightmare because the walls were covered in unauthorized posters featuring the Hulk standing next to Superman, which is probably not okay on some level. As far as I can tell, the crumbling infrastructure of the store was fortified by Tupperware containers filled with Clark bars, which at this point were probably stronger than rebar. Across from the second one was a store filled with music box snow globes, and across from the third was an entire store devoted to a model of a Western town, complete with model train and dozens of intricate vignettes of Western characters with well-thought-out backstories. We raced back to the Green Tinkler to shriek down to model size. Hello, is this Pinkerton? That's what the door says, doesn't it? What do you want? I want to know what's going on. How come I was double-crossed? What's the big cover-up? What do you know? I know lots of things. I don't like your attitude.
You both seem to be a little agitated. Perhaps y'all should eat something.
I got this can of duck liver. I got a picnic basket. Right this way. So there I was, having a pint-sized picnic with a pint-sized Pinkerton agent at Pints Point Park. His name was Harold Wyatt. He was actually a really nice guy once he had some duck in him. Ha! Corruption? Not in Hersheyville. We run a tight ship. Heck, the biggest crime in this town is littering. And that's only when a young lady drops her handkerchief in front of a gentleman of her interest. So, no evil mastermind plotting some horrific crime against humanity? Ha ha ha! In Hersheyville? No way. Just law-abiding citizens living their best lives full of adventure and excitement. Interesting. I thought for sure there'd be something a little bit off about this eerily perfect town. Well, if you gotta know the truth, there is a reason why everybody in this town is so well behaved, but I don't think you're ready to hear it. Probably not. Good call. I'm kind of a lightweight. Anyway, thanks for the duck. But I'd hate to keep your polite, quiet dog man here in suspense, so I'll tell you. He spun an intriguing yarn, and he also told us a story about the town's deep, dark secret. He told us that all the inhabitants of Hersheyville were survivors of an antagonizing, torturous existence designed by the one known only as the Globe Maker, and that if the creator of Hersheyville, different guy, was not happy with the behavior of any of the citizens, he'd hand them off to the Globe Maker to be placed in tiny globes for all of eternity. The globe is a concentration of your greatest desires, but delivered in an inescapable way that eventually drives you mad. That's horrible. But before you run off trying to stop him, I ask you please consider the practical utility of a place like this in the cosmos. I believe you'll come to appreciate something deep about how our desires interfere with the Creator's spontaneous plans for our lives. Yeah, that's nice. I'm gonna go stop the guy putting people in the globes. Come on, Marcel. We whizzed right over to the snow globe store and started poking around. The first globe we saw was a little scene of a father building a snowman with his 2 daughters.
Okay, no more snowballs at Daddy. I mean it. Listen to your father. Hey, ow, hey, I have authority. Please. Next one, out. Stop. Hello? Who's there? Are you here to rescue me? Please let me out. I can't take it anymore. I thought I wanted kids, but really I just want to play video games. I miss the single life. I miss me time. Please.
The second was a rock star on a stage, and the snow was glitter.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna mix it up a bit. I've been getting really into beat poetry recently, and I think it's my new direction. I hope you like it. Society, sobriety, can't take it, too much pressure. Insanity, didn't plan it, he lost his way, and I guess her ways were that of evil, but his blue eyes couldn't see it. How could all the allies turn their backs? I don't believe it. Marxism, dark schism, tossed just like a salad. Reverb, wings, words, moss, his voice invalid.
Boo! Play the old stuff! Play Freebird!
The next globe was a little harder to pin down. It featured a midget on a rocking horse. Hush, little blue jay, fly away home.
Papa's gonna carve you a dancing gnome. And if that dancing gnome won't jig, Papa's gonna build you an oil rig. Why, hello there, folks. I didn't see you approach my globe. I'd offer you some tea, but this here cup's all's I got. And I'm pretty sure it's glue. What brings you gentlemen to the mall?
We're here to stop the globe maker. We're absolutely certain he's bad and needs to be stopped, and no one can stop us.
You boys might want to take a rest. I'm not sure you're entirely prepared for what I got to say.
He wove a tale of incredible complexity, and he also told us a story about how the people trapped in the globes would eventually learn to love their situation, and the globe maker would free them, and they'd be free to live freely. And the globes were once the people's wildest dreams, and if anyone told the globe maker what they wanted, he would grant their wish. I immediately thought of my acquaintance from barber school and asked if the globe maker had any models of Machu Picchu. He said I'd have to ask him myself and that he only showed up on Tuesdays. We parked the Tinkler behind a model of a Ford Bronco and waited hours, days, minutes, then seconds. Then...
Hello, my little globe dwellers. How are we? I've got a good feeling about today, a feeling like one of you is going to find a forever home. But then again, all of you have found a forever home. Burk Hurkly, the shrinking dick. I thought I took care of you for good.
You tried, but I'm afraid it was a busy news day. The president broke a hip while twerking on the White House lawn. I barely made page 9.
So what are you going to do? Smash all my globes? Destroy the dwindling livelihood of an old man?
Actually, I was hoping we could make a deal.
Go on.
I told him I wanted my own globe complete with a working toilet and the love of my life. But when he found out that the love of my life was just some woman I barely knew, he said the whole thing gave him the creeps. But he did have a nice little globe all set up with a Jar Jar Binks figurine and some protocol droids. Deal!
Oh, hell no!
No! Don't let them get away! I own you! I own you!
You own nothing. Well, you own a dinky store in the mall, but there's a big difference between assets and liabilities. Assets earn you money, and liabilities cost...
You can smash my globes, but you can't stop the globe maker. I'll be back to globe again.
The globe maker disappeared in a cloud of smoke, leaving thousands of tiny people running around the mall floor. Then I thought of my most brilliant idea yet. Step right up, ladies and gentlemen. Walk into the machine tiny and walk out large. Only $5 a grow. Please have cash or credit card ready when you reach the front of the line. Not bad, Mr. Chomp.
$920 for a day's work? I can deal with that.
But then I remembered.
You better pay your bill. You still owe me $49.50.
I'll be right back, Mrs. Inamong. My wallet's in my car. Oh no, locked. Thinking fast, I stole a wire hanger out of the clothing store next door. My brilliant wire hanger idea worked, but not in the way I intended or wanted. I accidentally pressed the shrink button, and now I was locked out of my Hot Wheels-sized car with my tiny wallet inside along with my phone. So I held my head high and resumed my noble role as the fool. Thai chicken this way! Thankfully, the teens' aim was better this time, and some of their drink actually made it into my mouth. Yum, strawberry.
Well, boys and girls, wasn't that exciting? So many twists and turns. I don't know about you, but I could swear I was on a roller coaster.
Maybe because you were on a roller coaster. You missed out on the entire show.
Well, I can't be expected to... Hey, look at the time. Well, that about does it, folks. Hope you all enjoyed today's adventure, and stay tuned for next week's episode of Burk Hurkly P.I., The Shrinking Dick.